good. Should be on. See what we got here.
Overload.
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah.
That's how you feeling today?
That's how I'm feeling, Seun. We back, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've been jamming to this for a little bit in the car. You know how you like a song and you put it on repeat?
Okay.
That's it.
I like it. It gives me Yemi Alade vibes. Who is this?
It's Will's Beats and Miss V.
Okay.
It sounds just like Yemi Alade. You're absolutely right.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's ride it.
Let's let it ride out. Hey. How's your week, man?
It's good, man. It's good. It's funny, man. My son, Irene, he's 3, and when I play this in the car, he'd be like,
He's
"I'm
feeling.
gonna make you sing my name."
Hey, way to catch it.
Sing my name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so cute.
So
man.
he's already catching the vibes. Okay.
But that's that Afro beats, that we growing up on.
That's
So,
it. That's it.
Yeah. How you feeling, man?
Look, I'm doing well, man. I'm alive. I'm above ground. Rocking out to some beautiful Afrobeat vibes. I can't complain, man.
Amen. You know what? While I'm feeling this, I know this is off topic, but the music, it just makes you feel some type of way, right? And
Just something to your soul, right?
Yeah. And it's making me think about when I really started listening to Afro beats.
Okay.
And Nigerian music too,
Right.
So I gotta throw this on for y'all.
You got some more. You got some more in the chamber. What you got?
Yeah, what you got? What y'all think about this? Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all gotta.
So he was
remember this.
serenading. He tried to let the ladies know. Look, this is how I'm feeling.
This was like 2002.
You know what's interesting? I think this is when like the rise started happening.
Yes.
Like you're like, hold up, we're growing up here in the States. Like, yo, music coming out of Africa is kind of alright.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It took a while, but now, shout out to Afrobeat, shout out to all the artists doing big things, those that are up and coming. We're looking forward to your music. One of the things we want to do here on this Pepper Soup Pod as well is feature new artists. So as we start to grow, we're going to help you guys grow as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who's this for the people?
This is, the song is named Olufumi.
Okay.
And this is by Styles Plus. So,
Okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yes, man. Thank you, Beatty, for like setting the tone off right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in the universe out there to the Pepper Soup Pod alongside my pal, my homie, Folaji, a.k.a. Beatty. What's up, brother? Say something to the people.
Hey, I want to welcome you guys back to the second installment of the Pepper Soup Pod. Actually, Sean, next time I'm going to bring some pepper soup in here, man. We're just going to chop it up while we really just getting in.
As I chop some food right now.
Right now, that is good, man. And it's been a beautiful week, man. I mean,
Word.
things are going really well. I feel like it took us a little bit too long to get back in here, but we're back now, yo.
We're back, man. We wanted to stay consistent, you know what I'm saying? So you're right, but, we're going to give the people what they want and just start talking about, things that are just affecting, I guess, current events, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and by the way, I'm Seun Ario, a.k.a. Seun Boy. Yeah, that's it for now. No more AKAs, right?
I'm Folaji, Fadeyibi.
Right.
Also known as Beatty from back in the day. And before we dive into it, man, I just want to give a shout out to Tenny and Tammy. Those are my little girls.
Oh.
Yeah, they loved the first installment of the pod. They were like, "Daddy, can we like listen to this? Do we have to get in school on time?" So,
That's
so
good,
shout out
yo.
to them.
That's good. Shout out to the beautiful children you have.
Appreciate you, man.
So in terms of what's going on in the world today, obviously we recently lost, not we, like you and I, but like I think society, the passing of the late Kobe Bryant, legendary basketball player, right from our backyard in Lower Merion, died to an unfortunate helicopter accident with 7 other lives in addition to his daughter. So it's a total of 9 lives that were lost, and just want to send condolences out to the family. And it really took the world. It was a lot of effect on people, in all genres and walks of life. Like Kobe Bryant certainly had impact, and the funeral recently happened at the Staples Center, and there were so many people that came out. Michael Jordan gave a heartfelt eulogy. Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, his former coaches. But the impact that he had, though, and just hearing what different people were saying about like the whole Mamba mentality, which was a mentality that Kobe Bryant encompassed. Like he was very fierce on the court, and that's what really resonated with people. So just wanted to kind of share, I guess, our respective thoughts on that. You know, what was Kobe's like impact to you? Like, what did he did he mean anything to you? His legacy, what were your thoughts in general about like Kobe Bryant passing and how like the world responded to it?
Yeah, what that meant, I mean, it was really big. I mean, you know, when it happened, my wife just started screaming downstairs. I'm upstairs in the bathroom, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? And I look at the TV, and I see Kobe Bryant, you know, killed in a plane crash. I mean, a helicopter crash.
Yeah, helicopter.
Yeah, so I was in shock, you know, and it's just, I mean, a lot of things, man. One, it just tells you that, you know, we live this life as if we're promised tomorrow, right. You know, and we really are not. We really are not. I was just laying in bed thinking about it the other day. I was like, if there's a way I can live my life where, you know I'm not promised tomorrow, so I do the things that I need to do, but also do the things that I want to do in every day, then I'm good. Because you can't really just live like today is your last day. Because if it really was and you knew it was tomorrow, you wouldn't go to work. You know what I'm saying? You would just spend time with your family and do that, right? So how do you find that balance? But the other thing that I want to mention, obviously Vanessa Bryant, man, she's super strong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that speech she gave was just, I mean, highly emotional. But you know, for her to be able to do that, you know, in just the little time that has passed is very commendable. And then one of the things too, I really didn't know about Kobe. I mean, I'm a basketball guy, but not really. You know, I watch the playoffs and stuff. I just didn't know he really went so hard with everything.
Everything else, right?
Everything, man. So
life off the court, right? He was successful off the court. He won an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Has an investment firm he sits on board, a venture capital firm. Made a lot of different investments that really turned out well. Was very active in his daughters' lives. I know you have 2 beautiful daughters, and he was known as a girl dad. And you could just see he was very supportive. And I like what you said about how we live our life, right? Like he definitely made impact.
Yeah.
So I want to just piggyback on what you said. Like why do you feel like, I don't know, people don't really take I guess ownership of the time that they have? Do you feel like sometimes people are like, I got the time, I'll figure it out? Like what was it that Kobe just caught, and how can we do better as a people to catch the things we need to catch?
Yeah, great question, Seun. Man, you know what kind of hit me with his passing?
What's that?
41. He's 41. I'm gonna be 40, you know, this year. And when you really start thinking about life, man, like that's kind of the midway point. if you are promised till 80, you know what I'm saying? If your time isn't till 80, and we all don't know. So I think, you know, as we were younger, at least for me, you know, obviously when you're in your 20s, you think 40 is not, that's too far away. Like, you know, you looked at people that were 40 that were really old, and then when you get 30, it's still a little bit different. But now I'm walking up on 40. A lot of my peers are 40, you know, and things change when you're 40. I mean, the body starts acting a little bit different, right? You can't do the Superman stuff you did before.
Sure.
So I think that's, for me, that's kind of a wake up call. And then one more thing about Kobe, the whole Mamba thing, I didn't even really know about that. I'm sure you did, but I didn't know about the Mamba mentality, you know, give it your all, go hard every second. And it's funny because I'm sitting there in my bedroom the other night and I didn't want to do something. And I'm like, no, I got to go Mamba. Even if it's reading a paper, you know, filling out a form, you know, in my respective discipline in real estate or whatever it is. I mean, going hard means doing something that you don't want to do, but doing it anyway, you know? So interesting stuff, man. What do you think? I mean, why do you think people?
Look, man, I think you said it well. You know, I won't add too much more to it as we, continue. But before we, transition to the next topic, don't put off what you can get done tomorrow, today. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like tomorrow's not promised. So I feel like it was a wake up call. As one of the commentators was like, we don't feel like our heroes, because he's a perceived hero in the eyes of many, but we don't feel like our heroes will go while we're here, like while we're alive. So it was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people, pardon me, to like, you know what, let me just do what I got to do. So I think the takeaway for you, for me, for all of us, let's just go hard. You know what I'm saying? Put forth all your strength and everything, because tomorrow's not promised. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, to his family, to his daughter, and then to the other 7 passengers who also lost their lives and their families. Rest in peace, and let's just use it as a moment of reflection to go hard with things that we got to do in our own life. Thank you, Kobe, for the legacy that the legacy you've shared with us. Right. So before we, what's interesting in terms of another, I guess, current topic. What happened, maybe like a few weeks ago, number 45, a.k.a. Mr. Trump, our president, arguably not everyone's president, but, the gentleman that's currently in office, put up a travel ban against several countries and limiting essentially their access to coming into the country of USA. And one of the countries was our native country where we both reside from, Nigeria. And I was shocked. I think I saw it on an Instagram feed, and I was like, Nigeria travel ban with all the oil that we export to America. So what'd you feel about that? Like the travel ban, and is it fair? Is it warranted? Like, what'd you think?
Well, definitely don't think it's fair. Obviously the president we have, he's not your typical president. So, that's a whole different topic for another day on how I feel about him. But the travel ban, to me, it was just really unwarranted, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I think Nigeria, from what I know, we've been doing a lot of stuff with the U.S. We've been partnering with them to fight Boko Haram, and just do a lot of good things. And to slap a travel ban on Nigeria was kind of like a slap to the face. So it's funny, I saw a comment of somebody saying, well, maybe this is not so funny, but they said we need to fix our own country. That way we won't want to be traveling to the U.S. all the time, and we'd be happy, where we are, which I think is an interesting comment in itself. It's just the fact that it's just not so easy to fix the country. I think if it was as easy as people may allude to, then you would see a lot more progress going on in Nigeria. However, and I don't live in Nigeria, obviously, and, I'm removed from it to some extent. Obviously, my parents are, Nigerians and everything like that, and they are more close to everything going on back there. But at least from what I see, it's a government issue, and I don't think I'm saying anything that's new to anybody. But if you have a corrupt government that is okay with the status quo, and they control the military, they control different armed forces and things like that, it's going to be hard to make changes. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. What about you, Seun?
Yeah, man, it is what it is. I think it's like you said, it's surprising to a lot of people. It blindsided a lot of Nigerians. The recent travel ban, but let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Politics is one of those things. You can't be willingly, I guess, oblivious to the effects, because at the end of the day, if you don't necessarily agree with the president in office, just be aware in how these things affect, your life, right? The policies, and we have family members overseas. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for Africans as a whole? So let's just be cognizant and be aware of these things that are happening, right? But they said it's temporary, I believe, right? They were saying like it's just because there was they couldn't. They said something about I have a brain freeze. They couldn't monitor the security that Nigeria was.
Yeah, they were saying that Nigerians.
That's how they try to justify.
Yeah, that's how they try to justify that their security needed some work and stuff like that. But it is what it is. But you make an interesting point, and I think we, as we go into the next topic, it's about voting, right? You talk about knowing the policies, knowing about who supports what, and one of the things that always kind of, pet peeve. I know we're going to talk about having a pet peeve section, but people that don't vote, especially black people that don't vote, that's like a pet peeve of mine. So that's
controversial. Some will say like their vote doesn't matter, right? Like the people in office, they already kind of they're going to do what they do anyway, so why should I vote? But that's like you said, that's a meaty topic. Too many topics.
I know, but the funny thing is, I feel like those people that say they don't vote because their vote doesn't count. I mean, real quick, you think about what people went through, right? People previous to us to actually get that right to vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like those people that say they don't want to vote, I feel like if somebody said, okay, if you don't vote this year, like your voting right will be revoked forever or something like that, then they might say, okay, you know what, I will vote, you know, because I don't want my voting right to be revoked. But it's kind of, it's an oxymoron because they won't vote unless something critical like that happens, you know. So it's really weird, man. I think we need a little bit more education to some of those people, but sometimes it's the people that are even educated that say that, and that's crazy. So
right, it's I think it's an interesting segue when you say some people feel that voting is crazy and they just don't want to do it, and a lot of times in our community, when you to talk about certain things, we find it difficult to articulate. What do I mean? Mental health. Right, and I was reading several articles. One in particular from it's called the McLean Harvard Medical School affiliate. It was by one Christine M. Crawford, MD, and she said, "How can we break mental health barriers in communities of color?" Let me quickly just read. I'm a fast reader. An excerpt from an article. She said, "When I was in medical school and I did my psychiatric rotation, I immediately knew psychiatry was my calling. However, when I announced to my friends and family that I had decided to become a psychiatrist instead of specializing in another field of medicine, the response I received was one of disappointment and in some cases disgust." She said disgust. She said one person said, why didn't I want to become a real doctor? Another person asked why I would want to work with those people. And just wrapping up, she says it was a struggle for her to hear these things from people that were close to her, right? Individuals she thought that were compassionate and smart. And then she said that's when she truly understood the depth of mental health stigma in the Black community. Ironically, as her career progressed in psychiatry, she came to learn that many of the individuals that responded most negatively to her career choice were the very people she was dedicating her life to and helping, which is African Americans, Black people who silently live with mental illness. You know, some of what a lot of people don't know, which I didn't know, she goes on to say, and I want your thoughts, Folaji, the stigma of mental health is nothing new to the Black community. So as far back as Dr. Martin Luther King, right, he reportedly had severe depression during periods of his life, and he refused psychiatric treatment, even when urged to seek care by his staff. Unfortunately, that scenario, as she mentions in this article, continues to be a common one today, with African Americans not seeking mental health care because of this stigma. So let's talk about it, right? So that's the great Dr. Martin Luther King, the I Have a Dream speech, all the things that he faced. Who knows? Perhaps he thought he was too strong, maybe didn't want to be perceived as weakness. But we can extend that to a lot of the Black community, right? Caribbeans, Africans. But why do you feel is such an issue for some to just talk about the challenges they face? Black people, our people, right? Like, why do we just hold these things in? And is it healthy, or is it like what are your thoughts in general? Because it's an issue that's been kind of been affecting a lot of people in our community.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an issue, and it's kind of one of those issues that I think go undercover and maybe unnoticed. I think it has to do with masculinity, and just being, a Black man and being looked at as the leader, as the provider, and, someone who doesn't show much weakness, right? It took a while before, and this is kind of funny, but, you can go to a movie and cry, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, people looked at that.
For men or for
men? For men.
Black
yeah,
men.
Black,
Okay.
yeah, right?
Okay, no, I was just curious.
Yeah, because I think people perceived you as soft, and weak when that happened. But I think, times have changed a little bit somewhat. And, if you feel comfortable in your masculinity, you go to a movie and you say, hey, you know what? I cried at this movie, and you're fine with that. And you're not worried about what other people think about you. But I think that, as a culture still, as a people still, we're still worried about what people think, and how will someone perceive me if I share this this secret I have, or this illness, or this problem I have, with them, and then it gets out. So I think there's that hesitation, and I mean, it can even you can correlate that to some degree of like if somebody was coming out and they're gay, right? Like they're scared because of what people will think. Will people disown you? Will your family members, kind of disown you, or will they show you love? And as we see in today's society, that's still one of those things where different families from all ethnicities and backgrounds have issues when a child might come out and share his sexual preference. So I mean that's kind of what I think, Sean. I mean, obviously I'm not the expert on that, but it definitely is an issue and one that needs to be brought to light.
Right. No, I mean, it's issue. Let's stay on the topic of black men. Obviously, this mental health issue affects a lot of people in our community. I was in Brooklyn, shout out to Brooklyn, New York, 3 weeks ago at the Brooklyn Museum, and Common, the rapper Common, was there, and he was speaking about mental health, and he was very transparent. It was a very dope panel, and he said something that's very key. So he actually was, you talk about like, sexuality, et cetera, but he was molested at the age of, I think he said like 9 or 11, and he was actually acting on set, he said, and it was around, I believe, that particular topic, like, and he was in character. And he said with his co-star, he was like, he basically had a flashback to like, whoa, I was 9 or 11, bottled up these feelings, never told anybody, but he said the actress who was playing with him, he basically opened up to her, and you could just see his the people in the audience when he was talking. We were just like, oh wow, Common, really? Because he's this rapper, right, hard, and he was always conscious. You see what I'm saying? But like for him to articulate that, I thought it was pretty dope. But he just talked about ownership and like being true to yourself and not being afraid to just be vulnerable. Because oftentimes vulnerability in our communities, like I said, is perceived as soft, you're weak, but he said a lot of dope things, and I think it's important for us to not stigmatize others who may not be able to be as open and comfortable to share whatever. So I think what can you and I do in terms of like tangible, like something tangible and practical? Like, don't be so quick to like, brush off your quote unquote strong friend, because a lot of times people, they don't really say what they're going through. So I think we have to be more keen, more aware, create environments where people could be more comfortable, right, to just share how they feel, and like to destigmatize it is to just create these forums where it's like, look, you're not alone. And it's a beautiful thing because more people are talking about it. I think it's important that we in our community talk about it as well. You have other people like Charlemagne the God, one of I think 1/3 of the Breakfast Club, popular syndicated radio show in New York. They talk about a lot of dope topics in our hip hop and black community and music, but Charlemagne has a book as well that talks about that called Shook Ones. But let's just check up on your people, you know what I'm saying, your friends that you feel maybe going through something. Don't be afraid to just check up on your people, you know what I'm saying?
And I like that whole thing about checking up, right? Because I got good friends that I haven't talked to in months, right? But if they call me, I'm there. If I call them, they're there. But I don't think that's a good thing. I think that we should always check in, as often as we can.
Right. So. Okay. Yes. So let's, we're going to pick it up. We're not trying to, but these are things that are important to us. You know what I'm saying? So we just wanted to get deep for y'all. You didn't think we could go there, but we can go there. Anytime. But like this energy, in terms of like having a positive mental health, a mindset, lifestyle, right? So I think we got to do better as a people, as a community. Let's talk about lifestyle real quick, you know what I'm saying? So we're still at the top of the year, right? First quarter. A lot of people, how you guys doing on your, what's it called, your New Year's resolutions? I think the top one is I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to run. So we've talked about that, bro, like working out, and you were doing 2-a-days. He tried to come in here, y'all, and say, yeah, he asked me, Folaji gonna ask me, so how you doing working out? I'm like, I've been running here and there, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to start off with the cardio. He's going to say, yeah, I did 2-a-days. I've been doing that for like past, what was it, like a week? So he's just trying to show off. You feel me, God? But how's that been for you and lifestyle in general? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is healthy lifestyle important to you? And
Man,
we want to talk about that.
I can talk a lot about this, but let's just start. I mean, I'll be honest. In the last couple of years, man, I've not been the healthiest guy, right? It's eating what I want. If I want drinks, I drink what I want. I mean, that's just kind of how. In college, I used to do 2-a-days. I used to be a crazy athlete, but you know what? After time, and like I told you guys, I'm coming up on 40, so I heard this thing. I think it was Cat Williams who said it. He said, "When you gain 10 pounds at 40, you just gain 10 pounds. Like this is just going nowhere.
It just sits, right? Wow.
Yeah. So the funniest thing happened. So anyhow, I'm reading this book with the Drexel Book Club.
Okay.
It's by Charles Duhigg. It's called The Power of Habit. Really, really good book. And it's funny. You can read a book just to read it and get the knowledge, but to apply the knowledge is really where the power is, right? So just a couple quick points about that. He talks about, the power of...
What's the name of the book?
The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
Yeah, so he talks about a couple different things. One is the power of group, right? He talks about, when you have like an alcoholic and they join AA, like it's really the group portion of that actually helps them get through the alcoholism and become sober, but then also they believe in something, whether it's, God or something. That is actually what keeps them when there is like a crisis, because a lot of times when there's a crisis, people go back to what they know or what they've been doing, right? So he talks about that. The other thing he talks about is called the keystone habit.
Okay.
So what is the keystone habit? And basically it's a habit that actually, if you can change it, it affects the rest of your life, like all aspects of your life, So your keystone habit could be smoking. Keystone habit could be drinking. Keystone habit could be procrastination. All these different things. And he talks about how to identify it and then how to overcome it. So I mean, there's a lot of good things in the book. That's just touching the surface. But for me, what really happened to me to actually, make me change, and I've been on this for 3 weeks. I've dropped about 5 pounds. Clothes are fitting a lot better, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think for me, what it was the power of group. So what happened? Accountability. So what happened was my brother-in-law, he was like, "Yo, let's go to the movies." Just real random, and he was going with 2 other of our close family friends and whatnot. So we went out and we went out to Fridays first before the movies, and we were just talking about health and eating healthy and working out and that kind of stuff. And then we just kind of made a pact. We're like, okay, come Monday, we're gonna do this. Everybody's gonna work out at least 4 days a week. Some people had been doing that, others hadn't, And then we just created this little group line, and we just been on it. You know what I'm saying? So the other day I burned 814 calories on the elliptical.
Oh, that's
right.
good.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta clap it up.
Yeah. So we'll text each other throughout the day, like, yo, and positive things and things like that, and what we're doing. So I think that for me is one of the big things, and then just understanding where you want to be. Like, why aren't you doing something if you have the opportunity to do it? Last thing I'll say is, funny enough, a while ago my leg was hurting really bad, like my knee, and I couldn't run, and I love to run. And I was like, God, if you fix this, I'll I'm gonna be better, and I'll run. And because I wasn't running, even though my leg was okay before, so now when it's something that's taken away, that's when you want it. And so it wasn't until that happened that I was like, okay, you know what, this time when my leg is fixed, I'm gonna go for it, and just do what I got to do instead of just slacking off. So anyhow, a lot of good things, but man, I mean, it's something that I'd like to do. Actually, there's this idea I got. It's called Folaji's Book Club. I want to create like a book club just on Instagram, and we'll read through books, you know what I'm saying? And I'll basically highlight the key points to help people. And then also just kind of could be like an accountability thing too, man, because I think a lot of people, they just need somebody to be accountable with. So that's my thing, man. So how you holding up? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm getting there.
You getting there?
I think you right. I like what you said, like in terms of having accountability. Sometimes, you just shortchange yourself. So when there's a will, there's a way. But also too, just we had talked about at the top of the pod, just like lifestyle. You know what I mean? With Kobe, and he's working out. He was active in the gym, so it's like it's your life, and no one's gonna. You have to take ownership and responsibility of your life. So it just is what it is. But just being open to asking for help and the accountability part. So I've definitely renewed my membership at Sweat Fitness and wanting to do more group activities, and so I'm excited, looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna be the only one doing the 2-a-days. But no, it's an old day to. Let's just all out there, continue to just take our lives seriously, you only have one life, so treat your body well. You
you're
deserve it.
You're absolutely right, Sean, too. And that's the thing, man. You can join our group, you know what I'm saying, if you need that motivation. And I think a lot of times what happens too is people psych themselves out of doing something, right? What I mean is that you might want to go to the gym, but you're like, oh man, I gotta put on my sneakers, gotta put on my socks. It's cold outside. You know what? I say just go to the gym. Go to the gym, do one machine, do one exercise, and I guarantee you're gonna do more. You know what I'm saying? So when you start looking at it as little pieces, like, okay, my goal is to get to the gym, do 1 minute on the treadmill. If you can do that, I guarantee you're gonna stay at the gym. You know, but when you think about it, like, oh, I gotta get to the gym and do 45 minutes on the treadmill, you're gonna talk yourself out of it. So.
All right, man. Thank you, bro. I think that's real. So as you work out, you get your lifestyle back intact with taking care of your body. I think it also helps affect not only your physical, but your mental, because you need an astute mind nowadays for a productive life in terms of business, your goals, your dreams. You know what I mean? So with that being said, we know so many people are out there we had a little segment last time talking about our career, but let's talk about entrepreneurship. You know, let's talk about living your dreams. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to share some of our thoughts and go from there, right? So entrepreneurship is really big in this day and age. You know what I'm saying? Like everywhere around us, you see it. Like from the organizations that are popping up, the Ubers, the Lyfts, the everything. You know what I'm saying? Like so, younger people are killing it out in Silicon Valley. You know, young people are just making a lot of great things happen. You have YouTube entrepreneurs that are 3 years old and 6 years old and 7 years old, literally with an idea. There's a young, I think, YouTube phenom. He's like 7 years old. Reviews toys. Okay, gets millions of views, but is also now sponsored by a couple organizations and is raking in millions. So with that being said, we want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, living out your dreams. You know what I'm saying?
No, entrepreneurship, man. It's a cool thing now. It's a cool thing. I think before it wasn't so cool. Before, like we said in our last pod, it was more so, you pick a lane and you go to that lane. Entrepreneurship, I think, is something new that has really evolved, and everybody right now would love to be an entrepreneur because a lot of entrepreneurs make a lot of money, right? And we live in the best time of society to make money. There's so many ways to make money. I mean, with the whole internet, the whole social media, I mean, if you know what you want to do, if you're good at something, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. So I think, one of the things we should do on the pod is really dedicate, maybe a whole show just to talk about, what people out there are doing, how to set yourself apart, and what avenues and lanes there are for, entrepreneurs out there and how they can really just kind of blow up. It's not an easy thing. You got to grind.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I'm working on now. Obviously, I have some real estate endeavors going, and it's not an easy grind, man. It's not an easy hustle. The one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was is people would do themselves a big service if they can figure out what they're good at and what they're good at, and then hopefully that would lead them into something they would like to do early in their life, right? Mm-hmm. Because you asked me, on the last pod, what would you tell a doctor who doesn't like what she's doing and wants to totally change to selling clothes or something, right? Mm-hmm. The best advice to try to give somebody is if you followed your passion in the first place, you may not be in this position, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I look at it, because it's just hard to make a transition when you're fully, you're fully immersed in your life, so that's my thing.
Yeah, man, thank you for sharing. I know, like, you transitioned from corporate to entrepreneurship grind you are now. Like you said, it's a grind. It's not easy. Other thing I would just like to add to that, practicality for people that you may have an idea out there. It's never been an easier time in terms of resources, access to information, right? Your library, Google, people. You can reach out to people, email people, right? Connect to people through Instagram, DM, tweet them, and you have young entrepreneurs. There's so many different news stories of someone has an idea and they reach out to an established entrepreneur and they're like, oh wow, like this entrepreneur got back to me. This is, so we just encourage you all that are out there, if you have an idea, utilize the available resources that are there for you, and then avoid in the marketplace. Is there something that you see out there that is you can solve? That's one of the easiest ways to solve that problem and begin to put some structure around it and monetize it. Right? Think of Uber, think of Lyft. Talked about that at the time. There was a time it was just cabs. People were waiting for cabs for a long time. You order a cab from the house, cab takes like 20 minutes to get there. So what did Uber see? They saw a void in the marketplace and the rise of people utilizing their phones, people on their phones all the time. They developed an app, and now Uber is a multi-billion-dollar organization, publicly traded organization, and Lyft followed, and other car share companies. So that's just one example. So we say that to say, look at the void in the marketplace, young ladies and gentlemen, older ladies and gentlemen, young kids, boys and girls. This is the best time to start. And like my partner said, we're just scratching the surface. Definitely going to, as we progress in this pod, have some tangible resources for people to utilize so you can, begin your own entrepreneurship journey. So
Seun, good point too, like the Uber thing. So here's the thing too that I want people to really realize too is that don't talk yourself out of things, right? Because that Uber idea, I had that Uber idea. Like, I was like, man, wouldn't this be cool if people could drive people around and take them to where? But my mind totally stopped me and said, you know what, car insurance, they're not going to let you do that. And I just dismissed it. And I'm not saying that even if I didn't dismiss it, I would have been the one to start Uber. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying basically, don't talk yourself out of things before you start things, because I think we can do that very easily. So, but like Seun said, yeah, we're going to dedicate some real time to this topic. We're going to have some interesting guests, some really successful entrepreneurs, to join the pod, to share their experiences and
that's a fact.
and help you guys as we move along. So.
Word. Thank you, brother. I'm looking forward to that as well. We have so many people that are willing to share, restaurateurs, fashionistas, fashion entrepreneurs, other real estate investors, other successful entrepreneurs in technology. So be on the lookout, people. And, we're going to be announcing our live event soon as well, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about part of our inspiration in terms of entrepreneurship. You may be saying, well, they're talking about entrepreneurship. Okay, cool. I'm at, and you don't have to necessarily, leave your job, right? You could be an intrapreneur, but that's basically being an entrepreneur within your organization. How do you identify things that can help you rise to the top, even within a corporate structure? So look up intrapreneurship, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we'll talk more about that later, but definitely you can be an entrepreneur within your organization, or you can be an entrepreneur on your own, right? But definitely would be remiss if we didn't mention Black History Month. We're in the month of February. It's a beautiful month for obvious reasons, but so many Black leaders that came before us have paved the way for many of us. And despite all the different things that happen in our society in America, the fact that, call it what you want, that the government thought it, behooved them to set aside a month where we could celebrate the legacy of so many people that came before us. So it's an important month, right? So a lot of challenges that you and I face, the Black community face, but we can rise above. So just want to take some time to send a special shout out to our forefathers that came before us, a lot of significant individuals that are making history. What does Black History Month mean to you, Folaji?
Interesting enough, Seun, it's kind of like, I hate to say this, but it's just kind of one of those things that, February is Black History Month. You might hear something about it, on the radio. But I'll be honest, man, and I hate to say this, but,
keep it real.
It's just kind of passed. The month has passed, and I haven't really done anything, to really enlighten myself, on maybe other, important people in our history who've done some magnificent things. We all know Martin, we all know Malcolm Harriet Tubman. We all know those people. They teach us in school. But, I think that, I, one, have to make a more conscientious attempt to learn more about our history. But I also think, and maybe I'm not looking for this, but, I'm hoping that there are also events that people can attend that, are fun, but also informative as well, So I don't know. That's kind of my take, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who kind of feels like, there's not enough going on in Black History Month. I don't know.
No, that's honest, right? I feel like the transparency that you shared is real. Many would say, or some would say, it's the shortest month. Is that a slight? Like, I got to be in February. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to give us the shortest month. But I think back to what we said about earlier about entrepreneurship, bro, when if there's a void in the marketplace, why not you? Why not me? Why not us? Right? Begin to share a little bit more about people that have inspired us and how I can encourage other people. So Black History Month, people, it extends beyond February. That's just the quote unquote official month, but people are making history each and every single day, right? In all walks of life. Our parents, those people that inspire us are our parents. You know what I'm saying? So many successful people in corporate and different fields, medical field, entrepreneurs. Just want to thank all of the people that have too many to name that have inspired us, but I think you've challenged me, bro, as well, to like be a little bit more aware of people that have made impact in this Black History Month, and as we, something to look forward to the next year, 2021, we can do something a little bit more official. But in our everyday lives, day to day, even with what we're doing with this platform and this podcast, celebrating the history of our own people. So,
Sean, and that's a great point. Like, part of this pod is not just to share and disseminate information, but to really be a tool, a resource to people who want to do more, right? So just within our network, within our respective disciplines and what we know, we should be able to help people. So here's what we should do on the pod. I mean, we should make a good effort to talk about Black people that have made a difference. And it doesn't have to be during February. How about that? Let's challenge ourselves. I mean, and we can always throw that in. Basically we just share as we do all these pods, we can point out people that are doing great things that are, of African descent. So I like it.
I do as well. Shout out to, like I said, the legacy, all the Black people that are doing wonderful things, the musicians, the actors, the entertainers, the teachers, the parents, everyone making history in their respective right. You know what I'm saying? Respected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, this is one of those musicians right there, Ron. Most Def.
Yeah. Oh, you got the mathematics on. It is. It's simple mathematics, but, it is what it is. Shout out to Black History Month. Shout out to Most Def. Saw him perform, too. Twice, actually, in Brooklyn. Yeah. One it was at the Brooklyn Museum, and then also at it's called Brooklyn Steel. So definitely one of my favorite musicians making history.
Is he still performing right there?
Yeah. He's actually going to be in Philly. He's going to be in Philly March the 20th or March the 17th, I believe, at the Ave. He's going to be in New York at the Sony Music Hall, and then also in D.C. So he's going to be in 3 right in our backyard.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, no, this was a good one, Sean. I mean, quick hitter, but a lot of things to talk about. Want to definitely share with you guys. We're planning on doing a live pod. This is going to be sometime in March, towards the end of March. We're thinking date to be announced. But this is going to be good. I mean, we're going to have some topics we want to talk about, some really interesting topics, and we're going to get the audience involved and have a good time. One of my startup ventures is called bookdinner.com. I'm going to have a couple chefs out there from Book Dinner. We'll do a cooking competition so you guys can chop it up while we're doing that, and also have some artists. So it'll just be a really nice event, in the Philly area, and we'll be doing our pod there. So I want to let you guys know.
More details coming soon. Thank you for rocking with us and just being with us on this journey, right? We're new to this, right? But we're not afraid, you know what I'm saying? We're walking out on water, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? So we're not fearful for the ups and the downs. So we just thank you all for rocking with us on this journey. We're inspired to do a lot. You know, there's a lot of great things happening. 2020 is going to be a great year, right? So just continue to be great out there, people, and continue to rock with us. We'll rock with you all, and be on the lookout for more spiciness, more positivity, more progression, peace and progress, love and light.
Thank you guys, man. I'm a Marine, so
peace.
peace.
So now me you could love forever. I'm a cocky no feeble like that. I'm a Angelina, with my Angelina. Oh, me all down. Anytime when I see you for the club or the television, your body. Sure you know no say the thing when you carry 50 kill somebody. You know I feel a vibe.